Boxing Truth here. Let's talk about Danny Jacobs' last fight last night against Sulecki. Polishman, undefeated guy, 54-pounder that moved up in weight. It was an unimpressive performance. Danny Jacobs was uninspiring. It wasn't impressive. It wasn't explosive. And he's lucky he got that knocked down in the 12th round. But he didn't really need it on the judges' scorecard. But I saw Sulecki win a close fight, but I'm not going to scream robbery. It was very close. I only had Sulecki by 1 point, so it's very easy to see how someone had it the other way around. But it was a very close fight. 7-5 either way, 6-6 with the knockdown, Jacobs winning by 1 point. You can't give the either guy more than 1 or 2 points on the scorecards when it comes to the margin of victory. So Jacobs went life and death with a 54-pounder that he was heavily favored to beat. Sulecki, I didn't take any action on that fight. I watched some fights against Centeno, against Jack Koke. Sulecki is a world-class guy. At 154 pounds, he's got some solid victories against war-rated opponents. Undefeated, tall, rangy, throws a lot of punches. But the reason why I didn't take action on that fight was because he got no punching power, and that's what really saved the day for Jacobs. He's lucky he was in there with a guy that can't punch, because he was constantly getting jabbed up, getting tagged, getting hit with clean shots. And when you look at the fight, it was Sulecki that was landing most of the clean punches. The guy that was landing more often, landing more clean shots. Jacobs will have, some moments of spurts where he'll explode and land some big shots, but it was an uninspiring, unimpressive performance. And this just shows that, this Danny Jacobs project is really not going to go anywhere. He is what he is. He's a certain level of fighter. Can only beat a certain level of fighter. And it's pretty laughable that people think he beat Golovkin, because he pretty much almost got beat. Arguably got beat by this Polishman who was young, hungry, but not explosive, not a big puncher. But he's not a bad fighter. Solid fighter, but at 154 pounds. So going forward, Jacobs has to be matched carefully. He needs to be in the right fights at the right time. And if he can get the biggest opportunity he can get, he might as well take it, because he can get beat by a lot of young, hungry fighters in the middleweight division. I would pick Dervadenko to beat Danny Jacobs. Billy Joe Saunders beats Danny Jacobs. Canelo Alvarez knocks Danny Jacobs the fuck out. I would pick Golovkin in a rematch against Danny Jacobs. Jacobs is just a certain level of fighter. He fought outside of himself in that fight against Golovkin, but you really can't get extra credit for losing a fight. So, to me, he's not even the third best middleweight in the world. Might not even be top 5. There are plenty of middleweights that can beat Danny Jacobs. And the Jermall Charlo fight, it'll be interesting. Jacobs has the experience, but the timing. I think Charlo has more potential. I think he's coming into his own. Yes, he's fought some weak-ass opposition. Not very impressed with the opposition, but he's been explosive. To me, he's when it comes to the timing, he's fresher, he's younger, he's more confident, he's undefeated, and he's a bigger puncher, and he's more explosive. And Jacobs is a good puncher, but he's not as a devastating puncher at the world-class level when it comes to the middleweight division. Now, Jacobs fought the tougher opponent of the two amongst their recent fights. Jacobs fought the guy that beat Centeno, but Charlo did what he was supposed to do in dispatching Centeno in 2 rounds. But I wasn't overly impressed by that performance. He did what he was supposed to do, Charlo was. But if there was to fight next, I will lean towards Charlo because of the timing. Jacobs has had a long career. He's been knocked out. He's been knocked down by lesser punchers. And I just think his passion, his desire is just stronger. He's going to want it more. He's hungrier. But he just needs to step up already and fight a legitimate opponent. And Jacobs is a perfect opponent to find out if he's truly a threat in the middleweight division. But if there was to fight next, it'll be interesting. I think it will be competitive. But overall, you got to lean towards Charlo on that one because of the timing and because of the performances each guy is putting out. Charlo is just more explosive, of course, against lesser opposition, and Jacobs is getting 12-round decisions against hungry young fighters, but not legitimate world beaters. So hopefully that fight's actually realistic, but I don't see it happening next. I think Charlo has his own plans. The PBC have their own plans. They're probably going to take a tune-up fight in his hometown, and Jacobs is going to have to find another opportunity. But if Golovkin ducks Canelo Alvarez in September, I'm pretty sure Golden Boy, their matchmakers, will have no problem matching Canelo Alvarez with Jacobs for September 15th, Mexican Independence Day. Canelo Alvarez makes easy work of Danny Jacobs, and that'll be the end of the Danny Jacobs project for Eddie Hearn and Matchroom, as he will get dispatched rather easily in that fight. Too much skill, too much defense, too much durability, and just too much counter punching and the fluidity combinations for Jacobs to handle. He's nowhere near the level of a Canelo Alvarez, but if he can get that fight, he should take it. It'll be a cash out bout and an opportunity for him to try to get a big win under his belt. He's had a okay career, never won a legitimate world title, never been a dominant fighter, is only a certain level of fighter, and won't be able to have any explosive performance at this level, since he arguably got beat by Sulecki, but it was close. I'm not going to scream robbery. You could easily score it in Jacobs' favor because of the knockdown, but not impressive. Unimpressed with that performance. Let's calm down about Danny Jacobs now. He's not that good, just an okay prize fighter. This is Boxing Truth. I'm out.